Okay, so I wanted to do a video about link building, specifically digital PR versus links from bloggers. Now, at the moment, these are the two methods that are really popular in link building. Obviously, links from bloggers, meaning guest posts, blogger outreach, niche edits, link insertions, whatever you want to call them. At the end of the day, it's just links from bloggers. That's been pretty much the standard way of link building for the past 10, 15 years, even longer. But recently, we're seeing a lot more brands and a lot more normal businesses, should I say, take on digital PR because it's getting a little bit more affordable. It's been industrialized a little bit. So more brands, and basically it's becoming just talked about more as a good link building strategy, as a way to build links for SEO reasons, not just to get in the news, not just to get a story out there. So, yeah, more brands are taking that on, and more agencies are selling that as part of their SEO packages. So we're seeing the two now. Which one should you be focusing on, and why? So in this video, I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about the differences between links from bloggers and digital PR. So I've got no bias here. Fat Joe sells both of these types of link building, so I'm looking at it from a very balanced angle. We've sold links from bloggers for the longest time, almost 10 years. And just to go into details on that, we've got blogger outreach, which is essentially guest posting. The score. It's sold by DA levels. It's relatively cheap in terms of getting a decent link. It's hands off, hassle free. You're getting the link back. You don't have to worry about emailing bloggers, getting rejected, and that kind of thing. Writing the content and all that stuff. It's relatively cheap. And niche edits, which is creating a piece of content to go into an existing blog post. This Some people prefer niche edits because you can target, already ranking blog posts and insert your content in there. At the end of the day, I think you should do a bit of both of these, and I'll just class them both as the same kind of link. It's links from bloggers. At the end of the day, whether you're doing link inserts, niche edits, blogger outreach, guest posts, it all comes down to getting a link from a blogger. All of these are surface level names, but they're just the way that they're done is slightly different. Some people prefer some people prefer one, some people prefer the other. Some people, mix it up a bit, which is what I recommend. And then we have digital PR. Now, we've started offering this year. We've built a team around it, and we're getting really great results for this. As you know, this is coming up with campaigns, coming up with story ideas, pitching them to journalists, and hoping that the journalists cover the story. Now, hope isn't really good enough, for a productized service like ourselves. So we pitch a lot of stories per campaign, and we keep pitching until we get the minimum guaranteed links. And this is basically how we sell this to our clients. But it is a lot more expensive. So which of these two should you be focusing on, and why? So I look at blogger outreach. I look at links from bloggers, guest posting, link inserts. I look at it like the standard way of linking on the web. Now, there's a lot of blogs out there, there's a lot of bloggers, and they all talk about different products, services, other bloggers, informational sites. They link to everything. They are the linkerati of the web. So I believe these kind of links, especially when they're within the content, they're within a trusted blog, when it doesn't look suspicious like a contributed or a guest post, labels and write for us, I believe these kind of links count as votes towards other websites. I believe they're unsolicited. They're real mentions to another website. If there's no follow tags on them, no sponsored tags and that kind of thing, just a genuine follow link within a blog post, I believe these are the bread and butter of link building. These are what you want to get regularly every month for your clients, small, medium, large. I think they move the needle, and they most of the time, if you're doing it correctly, they're going to come from a relevant blog. You're going to get a lot of these naturally if you're doing real marketing, great. But I think for your supplementary stuff, for your surgical stuff, you're going to be outreaching to real relevant blogs that you want to link from, and you're getting a link, and you can get them in the plenty if you do a lot of link building. So the authority of these, usually is mid-range, because when bloggers hit a certain authority or a certain size or a certain popularity, you can no longer call them blogs. They're kind of media sites, and then you're veering into a different world where there's lots of editorial guidelines, editorial kind of rules that you've got to adhere to, and they don't accept posts anymore, and they might charge a lot of money maybe and call it an advertorial. So then it moves out of links from bloggers into like media placements or even digital PR. But yeah, even though the mid-range, like if I got a relevant link from a DA20 within the content, do follow from a super real website with, real person, real author, I would take that all day long. I would take it all day long, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it was, less valuable than a DR80 that was from a newspaper. So that's my stance on links from bloggers. However, at a certain size, clients, the needle doesn't get moved as much from an extra 10, 20 links from bloggers. The needle doesn't get moved when you're in these competitive industries. If you've already got a large foundation of links from bloggers, and you may be getting some naturally here and there, maybe you're doing a low level amount, that's great and that's worthwhile. But to move to the next point, there needs to be a higher tier of link building, and it'll probably come from getting some higher authority links. If you're getting links from, New York Post and Forbes and Entrepreneur.com and all of the high DA, high DR newspaper websites, this is a real big trust signal for Google. This shows, wow, they can't be not trustworthy, because they're getting all these links from these really high-end newspapers. However, there is a caveat. So even though the high authority, I think typically the relevancy is a little more loosened up. So unless you're in a really interesting industry, like holidays or something, where you can actually get linked to from a post about holidays, because, journalists are going for clicks. They need to talk about stuff that everyone wants to listen to or everyone wants to read or whatever. If you're in if you sell car tires or whatever, you can't get in the news about car tires. You might get in the news about cars. You might get in the news about car accidents. You might get in the news about business trends. You might get in the news about employment rates. Whatever. Digital PR agencies work by looking at what's in the current trends of the news, looking at what kind of data is going to be popular to write a story about. They can't look at your specific industry and find journalists to write. It just doesn't work like that. They need to find or create a good story, send it to as many journalists as relevancy allows. You're not going to send a fashion journalist anything about cars, but you might send, you might create a story about cars and send it to someone who covers just general news, someone who covers B2B or industry stuff. The relevancy can be loosened up a little bit. So for that case, I think relevancy isn't the strong point of digital PR. Now, as well as this, I don't think that we can see links from news stories as votes. I think they are more credits. It's like crediting a data study, crediting a quote, crediting an infographic, those kind of links, right? And I don't know this for sure, but I think Google might look at this slightly differently to a link within a piece of content on on a blogger's website because the bloggers wrote it themselves and they've voted for another website. They've kind of recommended, or they've vouched for this other website they're linking to because they haven't got a no follow tag, they haven't got a sponsored tag. They're saying, look at this, I trust this, sending my visitors to this website. With newspapers, when a study's been done or a quote's been said or whatever it might be, it's more of a credit. And for this reason, I think that it doesn't get looked upon exactly the same as links from bloggers. However, I do think that they move the needle because of the sheer authority. If New York Post is going to link to a website, New York Times, Forbes, Entrepreneur, any of these big newspaper websites, The Sun, The Mirror, if they're linking to a website, it's going to hold some weight just because of the sheer authority of that website. They've got lots of journalistic guidelines to link to a website. The website's got to be okay. It's got to have some kind of trust to link to it. So I think it does move the needle. Could a website just come in and start doing digital PR without the blogger outreach? Maybe. I wouldn't recommend it. I think the rankings will come from the relevancy and the bread and butter link building, which is from bloggers. I think that will come first. And then to move the needle at the high end, to push in real competitive spaces, I think that's where digital PR comes in. So I think for your regular clients, small, medium, even large, you want to be getting links from bloggers on a regular basis. So whether you get them naturally, whether you're doing content marketing, whether you're doing a lot of surgical stuff, supplementary, links from bloggers, I think right now, the bloggers are linkerati of the internet. I think that's where you want to be looking to get the majority of your link building. And then where budget allows and in more competitive industries, if you've got some budget to play with and you want to get some maybe faster results, you want to speed things up, you want to really move the needle, digital PR, I think, really helps in the high end. And it can maybe done once a quarter or once every 6 months, a big campaign, push out a few stories, get a few of those big links. If you're getting 20 links in a year from, really high DA sites, over DA 50, 60, 70, lots of traffic, it's going to move the needle. It's going to do things your competitors probably aren't doing. So in an ideal world, I think you should be doing both. I don't think it's a case of either or. I think you've got to be doing at least blogger outreach, and then for your bigger clients, get some digital PR in. But it's not a case of which one is better. I think they just have different use cases. And that's my take on it as someone who's unbiased on it. Hope you enjoyed this. I've got the Miro board out, so it's a special occasion. See you on the next video.